Happy Tuesday, unfortunately. I'm back in Europe, y'all. Bosnia to be specific. This is where my fiance lives, and we have a place here. And it feels, oh, I I can't express it enough. Probably by the end of the week on Instagram, I'm going to post a selfie that I took at a cafe down the street. And I just looked at myself and I'm like, there's this European, but like like just even having a little chic little, I I dress and I present different based on the continent I'm in. In the US, you will likely catch me out in sneakers, faded sweats, and a hoodie. And like, this is me running errands. You will not catch me dead running errands looking like that in Europe. Just, and so a part of me feels so excited to be back on this side of the world because I feel like I get to dress up again and I get to prioritize fashion and get cutesy and feel like a little girl. So I love that. And of course, it's really nice to be back with Stefan. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into some updates. Of course, I spent the last 2 days jet lagged, so it was really hard to make this video. And I'll be honest, there are times where I'm like, they're gonna get the lowest quality, lowest version, lowest energy level that I have. But, but there's so much shame around, you know, putting out such poor yeah, like you just don't want to be on video low energy. If someone gives you 20 minutes of their time, you don't want to take advantage of it and yeah, waste it with just like a basic monotonous ramble of a video. Maybe that's been some of my videos. Anyways, okay. So back in Europe feels really good. I'll be kind of like I mentioned on the last call, or the last video, 4 continents over the next 4 months and includes a lot of there is a mastermind that I'm hosting in South Africa. There's a mastermind I'm hosting in Bali. There's a mastermind I'm hosting in Thailand. So it feels like there is, and then of course, in between that, the elopement and the honeymoon. So lots of exciting events coming up. And I'm gonna really look back on like my favorite time of 2024 will be now. Like I know that this will be the months that I'm like most excited about. And I also feel like spiritually, emotionally, energetically, like I have worked so hard to feel this way. And I just completed 12,500 steps last week. Yeah, so maybe I already covered it. No, I didn't because it was after Sunday. Yeah, so it feels so good to be done and it feels so good to have finished it. Like anyone can set a goal and 125 days, that's like 4.5 months. That's a long time to be committed to the same thing. Mind you, this thing that you're committing to takes on average 2 hours to complete every single day. So it's not like I'm just saying, I don't know, take a 10-minute walk every day, because that's 10 minutes of your time. But when I committed to 12,500 steps, I did not anticipate that it would take me about 2 to 3 hours on average every single day. And I'm not just talking about the walk itself. Like if I was walking on the walking pad at 4.0 speed, it would take me about 2.5 hours, like start to finish to get either 10,000 plus steps or get all the way to 12,500. Now, if I was pretty active throughout the day and I ran some errands and I got to 4,000 steps on my own and I was walking at 5.0 speed, I would be on the treadmill for about 90 minutes, maybe 100 minutes. Yeah, but in between, like while I'm doing all that walking on the treadmill, I'll come off and I'll do like just quick sets of like crunches. I have a kettlebell, some dumbbell arm exercises. So there'd be another 20 to 30 minutes of just like free weight strength training. And then give myself the 20-minute cool down to stretch, and then I would shower. And I learned this from Ari Gym Hookie on Instagram that after a workout, you need to wait 20 minutes so that when you shower, you're not still sweating after the shower. So let your body get back to its normal temperature before you hop in the shower. So like even that 20-minute wait and then shower, like that all take like 3 to 3.5 hours of my day. That is a lot of time. And there are times I don't have that much time. And then there are times I don't want to spend that much time. So it was such a heavy time commitment. Not so much energetic, like I could pace myself energy wise. And if I was really like mindful about getting it done without having to take out that time at once, every hour I would walk around my apartment for 10 minutes. And by the end of the day, I would easily be at 12,000 steps. So yeah, if I did that, that's different. So anyways, I'm just like really proud that I was able to commit that amount of time for that long. And so at this current state, I feel the healthiest I've felt in maybe 3 years. I feel incredible about my energy and then my self-image. Like when I look in the mirror, I don't want to say disgusted because that word is extreme, but if we're being very blunt and very honest about how we sometimes feel when we look in the mirror and we see the flaws that maybe weren't there a few years ago, like, yeah, it's very easy to just pinpoint all the areas that need work and improvement. And I'm someone that, like, I know the options are out there, but that's not the kind of I've never been someone, and this is entrepreneurship as well. There are a lot of quick fixes. Um, there are ways to shortcut. I've never been a shortcut girl. Like I love doing the dirty work and like building the habit, building the character, building the commitment and the discipline that it takes to sustain something long term. So if that takes me this much longer in business to do it, I'll take that time. If it takes me this much longer to get a physique that I feel proud to look in the mirror at, I'll take that time. But yeah, so like there's this internal pride that you also feel knowing that you're doing it the hard way, the long way, the annoying way. So yeah, so there's all of that. So in this moment, like knowing that it's leading up to a lot of these meetups, a lot of these events that I'll be hosting, the master or the elopement, I just feel great about this current state. Now, am I exactly where I want to be? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel like there's probably a couple more pounds I wouldn't have minded losing, but I'm not gonna complain. We here. We completed the journey and that is enough. Yeah, so elopement is near. And I think the cool thing about being eloped or getting eloped is that you don't really tell people exactly when you're doing it. Like, we're in the vicinity, we're very close, but it's just going to happen. And then one day you're just going to know. And I think that allows you to just protect your peace of like, oh, I hope this is still okay, it's saying that I lost connection, but I'm gonna keep filming and hopefully this is still working. Yeah, I really I really think it's important to protect your peace during the time of a big event and a big life change. You don't want to feel like you have to update people constantly when something is happening in real time. So yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna like share it. And I've like teased, the timeline, but actually sharing the content from the event, who knows? Like whenever I feel like it. So um and then when it comes to social media, I talked about last week how I feel like I'm finding my groove again and just being more raw. There was this trend that said, roast my Instagram, and you ask it to chat GPT, like roast my Instagram, and you insert your handle or a screenshot of your page. And what's really nice is that it actually gives really objective feedback. And it's so easy for you to view your page as this like linear, you have a very linear vision of like what works and what doesn't because that's your experience and it's personal. But when it's from like a very like, oh no, this is what if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to improve, if you're looking to be more personable, like here's what it would take. So I really appreciated it. And a lot of the feedback that I got was I was trying to fit TED Talks into a caption and they're like, all right, Glo, not people don't always have to learn. They're like, just be you. They're like, we know that you're hilarious. I was like, how do you know that? Chat GPT, who told you I'm funny? No, but it was like, just show your goofy self more. And so I was like, okay. So I just started doing more like face to camera stuff and not overthinking the editing process and also allowing myself to show some of my humor while editing, like by including like dramatic captions or false captions of like what I'm thinking versus what I'm saying. So it reminds me of how I used to edit in college. So it's just fun to think about like, oh, things really can be easy again. And if I'm overthinking it, maybe I'm trying too hard. So just like offering that to anyone who needs to hear it, like maybe you just need to go back to what feels easy. And when I finished the 12,500 steps, I shared like a very just, you know, raw video of me sharing my process and why I did it and why I'm proud. And it's just getting a lot of great engagement. And yeah, like it's inspiring people. And sometimes when you don't try to be inspirational, that's when you inspire the most. And when you like are trying to force inspiration, that's when maybe it can come across as cringe. So it's so interesting just by existing and sharing my journeys, I'm inspiring people, which sounds like obvious, but sometimes I'm like, oh, anyone could walk this many steps a day. Anyone could set out. And I'm like, no, Glow, sometimes people seeing it is the inspiration. It's not you telling them that you're doing it, it's you showing that you accomplished it. So that was like just really, I don't know, nice to just like ah, just to remember. Okay, I had therapy today, like 2 hours ago, and I remember I would like tell myself, I'm like, okay, this is the call that I'm not gonna cry. Or I'll come to a session, I'll be like, okay, this is the call where I feel like and it's not that I'm like planning my tears, but I'm just like, I ain't got time to cry today. It's just funny because you know you got an agenda, you got things to do, and crying will take you down another path. And it's just you just start feeling sorry for yourself and you just want to hide under your sheets. And I was like, okay, today's not the day to cry. So just okay, here are the talking points. But my therapist is dope and I get so much pride out of making her laugh. And I I know it's not the point, like to please your therapist because people pleaser, but I really enjoy when I do. So yeah. But overall, I feel very motivated again. I like this season of life where things don't feel like heavy lifts. I know I'm operating in alignment. I'm doing things that make sense. I'm defending my peace, and I'm not taking things personal. Like I'm not reading into things. Like when you have too much free time, everything becomes a discussion. Like this person said this, but did they really mean that? Girl, what? You ain't got time to like have those random spiral moments in your head when you were just like living life and worrying about yourself. And I think being like with Stefan really helps because we're just like so connected and we get to like work together and build together and pick up where we left off with like, yeah, things that you can only do in person. So that feels just like really nice. And something that I'm recognizing as well is that you can you can implement strategy without forcing it. And that motivation that I feel with like showing myself on camera more and just talking on camera more, it's strategic to show my face more because that is building more trust, but it doesn't have to be forced. I don't have to force every moment to be a teaching lesson or to be a story time. It's like, okay, Glow, if you have something to say, start recording. But you don't need to optimize strategy to the point where it looks so inauthentic. And just keeping that top of mind. Anytime you are strategically implementing change, it does not have to look like this forced, robotic, you know, linear model at all. Okay. Um, yeah, and then last week I held this purpose and prayer chat, which was really, oh, it was just such a spirit-led idea. And I'm so grateful that when God plants ideas in my heart, I rarely question it. Like I might question the timing of it. God, I got a pack for a trip. I think that was literally my stress. I was like, God, I got a pack. There's no time for this. But there was such a strong conviction, and there were tears shed on the call, and there were so many aha moments and breakthroughs. And I'm like, man, Glow, you are, and I don't say this without like cockiness, but I am so anointed and I'm so divinely called for such specific work. And when I see that work manifest in reality and I see people get those breakthroughs in real time, I'm just like, Glow, what are you doing? Hiding from your gift. Like, it's not even that I'm playing small, but I'm cruising on comfort. Is that going to be the title? Are you cruising on comfort? Because that's real. When you have struggled for so many years and you have gotten out of that struggle, and I could say like it's been like 7, 8 good years that I've really like struggled. Like I still have problems, I still have struggles, but they're no longer financial. And like, and mind you, like everyone has bad launches, everyone has failed launches. Like, not to say that I've always had things figured out, but I have overcome the level of poverty that was so perpetual in my 20s and before that. And once you finally break past that, you're like, oh, okay, this is a new baseline and I'm okay with this. And yeah, like I cruised because I was like, oh, I'm as long as I'm doing better than my baseline. And it's like, well, your baseline is not thriving. Like, don't compare your baseline to like just over surviving. Like that's not a good metric. And because I have such an extreme past, extreme comparison to like what it was like to be hungry and just, yeah, to have nothing, literally nothing. It makes it easy for me to get complacent with just a slight bit of comfort. So yeah, sometimes I feel like these last 4 years, I had like a really big peak in 2020, and then it took me 2 years to not sustain, um, I don't know, just like rein everything in. Like I had opportunities in 2020 that like literally paid me for another 2 years. So from 2020 to 2020, almost 2023, like end of 2022, early 2023, like I pretty much took 8 months off of 2022 because that's how much revenue was being brought in from 2020 work. And that's why that even allowed me, it afforded me the opportunity to take 8 months off to just date. Like I told myself, okay, I am ready for love. I think I've done the work. And I'm just ready to put myself out there again because, like many of you, I thought that Prince Charming would break through my door and just discover me. And I didn't have a social life. I wasn't going out. I had no opportunities for people to meet me. So, using the dating apps and then putting myself out there, like physically going outside, like I just started doing that in 2022. And then I started traveling just for myself, not with an agenda, but just traveling to travel. Much like I did when I was like early 20s, but this time I could actually enjoy stuff. Like I could pay for museum tickets, I can pay for a fancy restaurant. Anyways, yeah, I just really appreciate that this purpose and prayer call that I did. It was so divinely timed and it was so beautifully done. Yeah, and I feel like I connected with so many incredible people that yeah, maybe it'll be a monthly thing, but it's not going to be forced. It's just going to be yeah, I think I allowed the first 50 people to drop their emails to join. So maybe next time I'll do something where um because I think out of the 50 people that I invited, maybe 40 were able to attend. So just even knowing that there could have been 10 more people, I should have like been more proactive about, you know, allowing people who knew they weren't going to be able to make it to have a replacement. That's neither here nor there. I'm continuing to use my Instagram stories as a place to just minister. I don't have to be I don't have to be in ministry to minister with the platform I've been given. So recognizing so much of what I have now, whether it's peace, prosperity, plans, future, a lot of it is God given. Like I can't even front about like, oh, it's this book, it's this strategy. It's God. It's me praying every single morning. It's me Bible study every single morning. It's me in my word every single morning. Like that's the work that doesn't get shown. And I mean, that's not content. I'm not going to time lapse myself reading the Bible in the morning while I'm in bed, like that, you know? So, but I still want to honor how much God is the one orchestrating my steps these days. Because if it was solely up to me, I would have messed all this up by now. And that's for real. Okay. I'll finish with some company updates. And I kind of like just sharing the behind the scenes of like what's happening because maybe you see an entrepreneur from the outside, but you don't really understand what they do on the inside. So we have the Life Leap and the Love Leap. And what's really nice is that we've started to find language around describing what we do. And when you are the practitioner or the facilitator or the coach, it is easy to understand what it is you do in the transformation, but to communicate it, sometimes there's a disconnect because the language that you might use to describe it doesn't translate to the everyday consumer who needs it but doesn't get it yet. So the life leap is we help you design your life around your passions. And the love leap is we help you design travels around your relationship. And that feels so, so, so good. And our first Love Leap retreat is in Costa Rica in January 2025. And it feels really, really good having such a solid group of entrepreneurs, but creatives and just like we want to surround ourselves with like dope people, but like people with a story, people that are interesting, people that are just like fascinating. We're so excited for that because a lot of times what happens is you get into a relationship and then it's like you two against the world, or it's you two and your therapist, you two and your fam. But like you don't always have those safe spaces to like talk through not just relationship issues, but relationship goals, relationship ideas, relationship tactics, and in a way that doesn't feel like you're being talked down to, but it's like a peer community approach where it's like you're all sharing and learning together. So, yeah, after we hosted a few successful ones for friends, we were like, okay, we're ready for this to be an actual thing. And yeah, we're ready to bring it to the marketplace. And what I love about Stefan, he's just such, he's the way his brain works is so beautiful because it's all the things that I lack. So I just really appreciate how we work so well together, and it adds to our relationship, but it also adds to our life overall. And I'm sure we have like 3 to 5 more businesses in the next 10 years. And I'm excited to just keep building with him and just see what we can continue to create. Okay. And then, yeah, I think the Lovely will probably launch the website. We're working on like the launch calendar and the launch strategy, but we'll probably launch the website publicly in a week. We don't want to force it, especially with the first one sold out. We're kind of like, okay, we want to be mindful of how we present it. And what's nice is that people get to pick the destination. So we also get to kind of like, it's a surprise, like, oh, looks like we're going to Peru next year. It just feels cool to be able to, yeah, like take the dirty work that people maybe not might not enjoy and like take that on, and ultimately like it's another life leap for us, like designing our life around our passions. We both love travel and culture and connection and planning, and yeah, it just feels really good. So that is all. I think, yeah, I cannot do this lateness again. This is shameful, and it's midnight here in Bosnia and I almost went to sleep. So, had it not been for therapy, I'd be in bed for sure, for sure. But we'll probably watch some comedy, some stand up in the living room and call it a night. But oh my goodness, I can't wait to watch this when I'm like 90 and just remember how fruitful these days are. Like I'm really enjoying my 30s. I'm 34 and it's by far been my favorite decade. Obviously, your 20s are a mess. I really, what I've really appreciated about 30s is that I've had less shame around who I am. Growing up, there was so much meshing, meshing, messaging and conditioning around me not being enough or worthy as I was. And so I was shape shifting constantly to fit in to whatever definition that the person deemed worthy. And in your 30s, I just stopped doing that. I'm like, I am amazing. I'm lovable. I am great. I'm divinely created. I don't have to change for anyone. Now, self work, self development, just being a kind person, absolutely, I care about that. But innately, who I am and how I show up in the world is enough. And I feel like every year I just get clearer about that truth. So I feel really good about myself these days. And I just wanted to share that. All right. Thank you for your patience. Sorry this was so late. And hopefully there weren't too many moments of like disconnection and chaos. But I'll see y'all next week. Bye.